we have Bart Bissler and Katrina Wiley, and they're going to talk to us about some mapping that they're doing here in Unalaska Bay.
All right, well, thank you so much for having us. My name is Katrina Wiley. I am a physical scientist with NOAA's Office of Coast Survey in Silver Spring, Maryland. Basically, my job is to plan hydrographic projects and then manage them through data acquisition all the way through nautical chart updates. And I'm going to pass that over to Bart.
Hi, my name is Bart Bissler. I'm an officer with the NOAA Commissioned Officer Corps, one of the 7 uniformed services, and I'm the operations officer on the NOAA ship Fairweather, which you see right there in front of Mount Fairweather, namesake. We're really excited to be here, be able to sort of slot in unannounced to your program, so thank you for letting us do that. It's fun to show you guys what we're up to. It's also fun for me. My next assignment is actually going to be in Alaska as the navigation manager for the Alaskan region for Office of Coast Survey. So I'll hopefully be seeing some of you folks again in the future. So it's cool to sort of get involved with what all is going on. So if you're wondering what we're doing here and why isn't the ship here? Well, the ship's actually off in Bristol Bay working on a fisheries project with Dr. Bob McConaughey, studying ground fish and the habitats that they live in, trying to map that. That's a project that's exclusively to the ship. So we don't need the 4 survey launches with that project. So what we were able to do is sort of double dip, if you will, and say, hey, we're going to put the launches ashore, leave them here in Unalaska, and then have the ship go off and do its project. So we have 4 of these 28-foot aluminum survey vessels, and we're staying in town, and we're updating the nautical charts right around Unalaska, Dutch Harbor, surrounding areas. So these are areas that haven't in some cases been updated since they were needed to be updated in World War II. So there's a big need. It's been on our list of priorities for a while, but due to the difficult nature of getting ourselves up here, we hadn't found a way to really make it work until this project came along where we can get multiple things done at the same time. So this is actually our first day of survey. We have 2 boats going out. We have all 4 here. We use 2 each day. That way we have 2 sort of spares, and our engineer that's with us can work on the other boats that stay in, make sure that everything stays running. So the shore party here, we have 9 folks, and then we have 20 days to get 38 square nautical miles of survey. So we've got enough time to have a little bit of fluff, but in these beautiful areas of Alaska, you can't always count on the weather. So we've got a little bit of fluff in there just so that if the weather ends up turning, then we have a day where we can sort of just hunker down and process data and not be impacted. Because the ship comes back on the 27th, and we've got to get it done by that time because they're picking us up whether we're done or not. So what are we working on here? This is the nautical chart, the overview chart for the area. We have 4 survey sheets. When Katrina and her group assigns us to go somewhere on the ship, we go and we get these polygons, these surveys. So it's sort of a postage stamp of the seafloor that say, hey, color this in for us. And they're prioritized 1, 2, 3, 4 based on requests from you guys, from the local constituents saying this is where we really want data, this is where we would like to have data, and this would just sort of be bonus. So we try to make sure we address the most critical needs first and then move on to the other areas. You see some funny patches in there, and those are actually prior surveys done from the NOAA ship Fairweather in 2011, and last season the orange spots were done in 2011, and then the little green spot there. I don't know if you all saw the Fennica here last year, but we were actually in town. I wasn't there at the time, but Katrina was, and ship was in port for the 4th of July, and we heard there had been a grounding incident. So we were able to put the boats in the water and do a quick day's survey of the area and get that updated right away because that was a critical need that we needed addressed. Now we're finally able to come back and get everything else in town. So that's the area we've been working on, and as of this morning, this is the coverage we've been able to acquire. So the reds are shallow areas, and the purples and blues are the deeper areas. This is not for navigation, this is still raw. We got to put some disclaimers out there. But this is what we've been able to do. It's sort of cool that the deeper areas, we're able to get a lot more data faster. Our sonar systems, it's a multi-beam sonar, so if you thought of a normal fish finder and stacked like 12 of them next to each other, instead of just looking straight down, it's actually 64 degrees on either side. So in the deeper water, it's a triangle, so you get more and more and more swath, which is awesome. In the shallow water, it's higher up on that triangle, and you get less and less and less swath. So we just go back and forth. It's like mowing the lawn. And slowly but surely, we fill in the picture. And it's really satisfying for us to see this data come in. And it's really exciting, too, because all the terrain around here, all this beautiful mountainous terrain, it doesn't stop at the water line. It keeps going underwater. And what we get to see is what's down there. And to talk more about the data and all the cool stuff, here's Katrina.
Thanks, Bart. So we'll see if this video works for us. So this is, if you imagine the chart that we were just looking at, let's see if it plays. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. So we're going to start over in Dutch Harbor. So I'm going to start you guys on the east side, and mind the jerkiness of the video. My hand was a little wobbly. So here we go. We're going over to Summer Bay off of Morse Cove. It's very flat here. And we're heading to the top of the island here. You see a lot more relief. And then as you head out towards the deepest area we've surveyed so far, so this is kind of near Wide Bay, Eider Point, you see a lot of relief. And then we're kind of headed down south. You'll see Broad Bay on the right there. It's very broad. And you'll see Hog Island on the left. That's Natican Bay right there we're kind of zooming into, very deep channel. And then we're turning around here. We're getting back towards Hog Island. So this is the south side of Hog Island. That's kind of Captain's Bay would be on our south. They're surveying that today. And then we're going to finish up here on the eastern edge of Hog Island. So that's where the Fennica survey was, where those little rocks are. And that's Hog Island. So I'll play that one more time because people tend to like videos.
This is really cool.
It kind of just shows our the data that we've had so far. It's still raw, but we take millions and millions of data points and we're gridding it. So you're looking at an 8-meter surface right now. You might see a few spikes. Those are just anomalous data we haven't cleaned out yet, but it will be cleaned out before it's submitted. So again, it's very interesting topography. There's a lot of history in this area, so it's exciting for us to see what's on the seafloor. And the whole goal for Office of Coast Survey is to update the nautical chart. So we're looking for things that may not have been found before, that may be a danger to the ships that are here. So you want to make sure we chart any kind of rocks or wrecks or obstructions that are in the area that are not represented on this chart yet. So again, so here's Natican Bay and Hog Island, south of Hog Island. We'll have Captain's Bay all mapped today, or mostly mapped today. And there's the Fennica rocks, as I'm calling them. And that's the area so far. Yes?
That's a minimal underkeel clearance area, and that's why we surveyed that back in 2011, because that was the pilots in the area, the maritime pilots were like, hey, we want to know exactly how much room we have to work with.
Right. And one of the good things about collecting this kind of data is that it's used for all sorts of disciplines. Many scientists use this, many just civilians use this for anything. So the data is all eventually publicly available, and you can look at this and do what you will with it.
Find out where the best halibut hole is, whatever you want to do.
So something that came up that people have actually been interested in is off of, so this is Summer Bay, this is Morris Cove here, and if you see that little dot, it's got like a little box around it, there's this outcrop, this little rock outcrop that sticks up about 3 meters, about 12 feet. It's not on the chart right now, so this is something that we look for something that's not charted, that could be potentially a danger, that will make sure we get on the chart immediately. So if it's a danger to navigation, as soon as we submit it, it takes about 2 weeks and it'll be updated on the chart. So we were looking for things like this that...
Can you point to it where you're talking about?
Yes. So here's Morris Cove and here's the full rock offshore. Most of the rocks are along the shore, but this one just happens to be offshore. So going back to the nautical chart, so we're all about safety of navigation. One thing we update is also the shoreline. So one of our NOAA offices, the Remote Sensing Division, goes through and looks at the coastline and any kind of new superstructure like the Carly Moses Boat Harbor. If you look on the right, it's not on the nautical chart right now, but we know it's there. We see imagery on the left. So the Remote Sensing Division already has it digitized. It's going to be updated with the survey. So you see the extents of this pier, and there's a few others scattered around the island that will also update that we see in the imagery. And then, this is very raw, we haven't finished processing everything, but what we do with our data is once we have this surface, this digital terrain model, so you can understand what the bathymetry is, the depths are, we derive contours and soundings to update the chart. So in blue is just a quick sounding and contour set from the data we have so far, and it kind of shows you where the contours are and what the soundings are. And this goes through a couple branches, but eventually we'll have an updated chart for this area based on all of the 2016 data. So we'll be able to see everything up until about 4 meters is really where we go inshore to, the 4-meter curve. So there are a few websites here. If you want to learn more about NOAA Ship Fairweather, you can go to omao.noaa.gov and find the Fairweather on that website. If you want to know more about Office of Coast Survey, you can go to nauticalcharts.noaa.gov. That's also where you can download nautical charts and ENCs, electronic navigational charts.
You can download the charts as a PDF as well.
Yep.
So you don't need a chart plotter to use it.
And then the bathymetric data, so all this data will end up on this website, ncei.noaa.gov. So as soon as it goes through our kind of check-in branch, it will be available, the raw and the processed data. And we also put like a PDF, so like anyone can open up the PDF, and it'll have that whole image of where we're surveying and the soundings, and also the backscatter that we process too. And then we actually had a blog post, speaking of communication. So if you want to read more about this specific project, if you go to noaacoastsurvey.wordpress.com, the first blog post there is just about this project and kind of talks about the NOAA Ship Fairweather's mission as well as the launch's mission here in Unalaska. And with that, again, we thank you so much for fitting us in and letting us talk to you about what we're doing. So thank you so much.
We're going to hold off on questions just to keep it timely, but these guys are upstairs. They're on the 3rd floor, so you just go up one set of stairs, and they're in the boardroom. So you guys should definitely go bug them and check out what they've got going.
Yeah, during the breaks, please come by.